Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Foxalive run. This is for Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, and we are coming back after essentially 10 years away from this game. If you don't know the restrictions, they will be in the description, and they'll also be on the teaser that I made for this project. I'm very excited to share this with you because it's one of the games that I was known for a long time ago, and people are still enjoying the majesty that is MGR. So the beginning is, of course, the prologue. We will be controlling standard Raiden here without too many enhancements, and the first encounter is going to be up against a bunch of soldiers with a Gekko. And the Gekko has the tendency, when you parry him, to dodge away from you, but you can use movement or attrition to get him closer to a wall where he can't do that, and then you can hit him with the riposte. At this moment in time, we don't really have access to some of the cooler things, and because of the tendency of this project, I'm not going to have access to too many things at all. So this is going to be a really, really crazy kind of run, and it's going to be edited into the stratosphere, so you only get the fights, you only get exactly what is necessary. And this is meant to be a fun run that you yourselves can try, and I have some flexible parameters that will make it a bit more interesting for people who are struggling if you don't want to go absolute caveman and devote your entire life to it. But before I can talk about that, we're taking on Metal Gear Ray. And I recorded 2 Ray fights originally. The first one was about 3 minutes longer than this one as I ran around doing fancy no-roll strats and all kinds of weird things. But I thought for the purpose of the video, for the efficiency, the brutal efficiency of the Foxalive run, I'll talk about more later on with that as well, I wanted to show you the manipulation here where you parry the face, you don't cut the turret, and then you get the parry damage repeatedly. Because if you do cut the turrets, you will lose access to this particular mechanism, and you can't put Ray down very quickly. And as much as we love this fight and we love listening to Rules of Nature, this is quite a lengthy fight with not too much happening. But a couple of things to watch out for, guys, in this project. Blade mode cancelling, interesting uses of movement, and an incredible amount of restrictions that pretty much mean you'll only see me doing basic attacks, parries, and occasionally using some items. But I promise you will not have seen something like this before. You might have seen something very similar because there's 2 runs on YouTube. One done by, I never remember his name, but you know the guy. He's called like Eve4, really, really good player. He did very hard, no upgrades. Not, was it very hard? It might be Revengeance, actually. Well, he did a harder difficulty, no upgrades, S rank. And then there's a player called G-Soul who did the run as well. And this is just a modified version of that. And we've now made it a couple minutes into the video. So if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube has a very aggressive system at the moment when it comes to certain things it doesn't like. It's had it for a while. It doesn't like you talking about certain topics, certain discussions. It doesn't like certain words, and one of those words is die. So this project is not called Foxalive. Foxalive is the reverse. This is the meaningful moment at the end of Metal Gear Solid 1 where Liquid finally falls and he says, "Fox, die." This whole run is inspired by that moment. And there's a couple of nods and winks to the original Metal Gear in here for you to get excited for. But the project is called Foxdie, but because of YouTube and its stringent policies, I'm going to call it something else so that the videos stand a chance of hitting your sub box and maybe you can watch them. Because believe it or not, it's the small things like violence and talking about controversial topics and swearing, especially at the beginning of videos, that completely kill all engagement with your channel. And my channel's already in a graveyard of its own. I've been shadow realmed a long time ago. But I'm hoping with this video and with some of the more videos coming, at least you can have a good time with it as we decimate Metal Gear Ray, Revengeance difficulty. And then we move on to the next sequence. So the next sequence is the fight on the rooftop against Ray. And there's a couple of interesting dodges here that you can do. So the first part, the boss is going to try and doing some standard attacks. And if you do some attacks here, he sweeps his laser. And sometimes when you jump over it like that, he'll hit you. So you've got to kind of high profile it as best you can. On one of my attempts, I shut this boss down before he even swept the laser, but I couldn't get it to happen again. And I don't really know what that was. So if you maximize damage, you should be okay. But you will have to sprint on some of these moments because if you don't, you'll get hit by bullets. One of the more questionable parts of Metal Gear Rising's design is that the ninja run, as cool and as awesome as it is, it leaves you incredibly vulnerable when you don't want to move. Because in order to stop the bullets, you have to run. But if running leads to damage, what do you do? And of course, you can go into blade mode and do some cuts. But in this run, going into blade mode is going to be very dangerous, and you're going to see that later on. But keep on attacking Ray. If you ever get into some animations you can't get out of, you can either blade mode cancel or you can jump cancel. And certain times, because of how aggressive the camera is in this game, jump cancelling is safer, because it doesn't manipulate the camera. And now we get to do the most iconic moment of Metal Gear Rising, probably for some. The amazing missile hops into the chorus of Rules of Nature. Another thing you'll see here, guys, is when I cut things in the cutscenes, I'm going to try and do them in a specific way that might be a little bit different to what you're used to. And it's not a good idea. Don't do it. If you want S ranks, only doing singular cuts and stylish cuts, you will fail. Because there's a lot of circumstances where the more you cut during a Zandatsu, the more rewarded you seem to be. So if you want to do an S rank version of this run, which you totally can if you want to, most of the fights in this project are S ranks. I just cut it out. You can totally do that. I even have an easier variant of the Foxdie run and a more difficult variant of the Foxdie run if you're interested, but this video is so short I didn't want to bombard you with concepts. And if you're new to the channel and you just want to see a conventional walkthrough, I have one of those from 10 years ago. If you've seen that but you haven't seen the S-Rank version, I have another walkthrough from 10 years ago, and now we have the new run, which will be this one, my Foxdie run. I hope you're as excited to watch this as I am to share it. Thank you for all the support over the years, and you take care now.